This is Stalker, Call of Prypiat. We're here on PlayStation 5. Be sure to like the video, subscribing is great as well. So this is the third and final part of the Stalker Trilogy collection. You can choose to grab them by themselves as little standalone releases, or you can grab them as a compilation collection. The choice is really up to you and how you want to approach and enjoy these old school games of their time. I want to say classic to some degree Stalker games, which is pretty cool. So this one is the closest to what I imagine the next entry in the series is going to be in regards to being like a game with an open world approach and style to it. And it is one that I wanted to kind of like the most, but I do have some elements where I do find some parts of it a tad maybe boring to some degree. But yeah, I really do genuinely want to like this one the most, and I've got a lot of... I do actually have quite a few thoughts on it, if that makes sense. Wow, I have a lot of guns. That is actually just crazy how many of these I just picked up in this attack here. That's wild. So here on the PlayStation 5, we're getting a 4K resolution, 60 FPS. You can go to the options and then you can change the frame rate if you want to limit it to 30. There's a motion blur setting. We are supposed to be getting, at least on the Xbox side of things, they mentioned a current gen upgrade, so I imagine that will be the case that we will see with the PlayStation side of things as well, alongside mod support. But keep in mind, mod support on Sony stuff is a little more limiting traditionally, so obviously that would be something pretty cool to check out and come back to. And hopefully it is robust and offers some improvements to the experience. So that is something to kind of keep in mind for this offering. Alright, well that was fun. Let's get out of here and get back to base. So this one is interesting because you've got a few different open world areas. You got a swamp, you got like an industrial area, and then you got maybe a little bit of a surprise type spot. I'll leave that for you to figure out as you play this one. So you kind of have these more large open world areas. So in the first game, it's kind of like Crysis 1, where it's like open, but it's still linear and tight. The second one, they go more open world, with like a faction system, and then this one kind of ditches the factions thing and just kind of goes open. And it's an interesting approach, but in this one, I find in comparison to the second one, there's not as much like kind of interactions going on. Like a lot of it, I was just kind of like walking and meandering through. I do really want to like this one the most out of them, but I do tend to favor the first one. I'm feeling the more and more I play these. But this one really does have some cool stuff, some cool atmospheric elements. It just so happens we're playing, it's just a nighttime kind of raid we're doing, in case you are wondering. But yeah, there's some really cool, interesting things to this one. Some neat mechanics, and it's a bit of a role-playing and a survival game. Yeah, I guess we're going to go to Yaniv. We were supposed to get to the top where the helicopter is, so we'll see if this impacts anything negatively or if I can just kind of jump across, because it is kind of open in its style. Someone's supposed to take me through a portal thing to get to a helicopter, and I feel like I might have just skipped out on something important there. But, whatever. So it is a little dynamic, the world. Oh no, he took me right here. Yeah, I'm supposed to... Yeah, I'm supposed to go touch that helicopter. Oops. Yeah, okay. So the heartland of the zone is now open for exploration. There are elements of like anomalies growing, so there's new anomalies that you have to deal with, which are these crazy places where you gather artifacts. Then there's also like mutants, and the Chimera are like a fearsome predator type thing that you gotta deal with as well along the way. It's just kind of a grim, kind of darkened open world. And you are out there kind of exploring it, which is funny. Like I said, you're supposed to go and do the crash site there, but I guess you can almost skip it to go to these other spots. That's utterly fascinating. I'm gonna take a bit of a sleep so that it becomes daytime, which is kind of entertaining. Yeah, let's go for 8 a.m. So there's dynamic elements to the environment and the way things look, and it can be very, very moody, very aesthetically interesting, honestly. This person usually has quests. Yeah. And then we got a mission where I think that one is... Yeah, it's over there. That one's a pretty cool one, so we'll go and do that. Although I do imagine we are ill-equipped. But I do find this game to be a little challenging in nature, so this one is the most equipped in regards to basically being better at giving you checkpoints and saves, but I do recommend consistently creating saves, playing on the easier difficulty, because this one actually is quite a bit challenging, but I do find that this one is a little bit of the easier of the bunch, so you might be able to kind of bump it up. It feels sort of open in its style of being something like Fallout 3, if that makes sense, in its sort of freedom, but then also like the combat and the shooting kind of feels a little bit like Call of Duty 4, and I find the gunplay in this one is kind of, to me, the best out of the three. Like, it feels most in line with something that's a bit more well set up. How... I don't even have that much waiting here. I guess I have a few different guns. Like this one, 300 bullets. That one, 3265. This is all the same thing here. Okay, let's just... well, this one's a lot more damaged. We'll just unload you and drop you so that the weight goes down a bit. Don't want to be over-encumbered. You know what I mean? Over-encumbered too much. And talking about like the role-playing mechanics, this is where I kind of mention the elements of like you got to deal with your character bleeding, you got to have the food, you got to deal with waiting. Stamina drives me crazy in these games. I hate the stamina system. I get that maybe I carry too much ammo weight or something, but like it really does kind of drive me crazy. But I think you can see here that there's a good sense of like mood and feeling and tone to this one. There is quite a bit of pop-in as you move through the environment. I found that very noticeable in this one. And there is an element of like, those guys aren't popping in, they're just invisible creatures. Just gonna throw that out there. There is like some ghosting artifact, or I don't know if ghosting artifacts is the right word to put, but like there's like ghost like loading of things in the backdrop. You kind of see things like fade in and out as you get closer to them, which is an intriguing option, just for how they handle like the loading. So I am hoping that when we do get, you know, a current gen update down the road, that is one of the things they kind of fix and or change in that one. I think would be really, really great. I did this technique last time. You just kind of hide in here and see where they kind of go, and then just pop a grenade, and usually kind of it gets one or two of them usually. I'll just keep trying. Kind of like throwing a grenade in a barrel kind of thing. Sometimes work, and sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah. Now, these ones are causing a lot of problems. So there's obviously creepy stuff, supernatural things going on in this one. You'll see some really messed up, crazy things. It's supposed to be like really horror-like in nature. I don't personally find really anything too terrifying or scary, but I do get the element of like this is supposed to be something that has like, you know, scary elements to it, because you do visit some scary spots, and I do recommend really learning about the oh, there we go, that's what I'm looking for, the quick hotkeys there on the bottom left for your health and stuff, because that's going to be a major problem if you don't actually effectively monitor your ability to make sure you're not like bleeding, or your health is going down, or your stamina. It's a pretty clean, simple UI to understand. It's just like this one, I really do wish there was a bit more guidance in its approach. Like, it's got things on the map that you're supposed to go and do, but it doesn't fully really guide you, if that makes sense. Like, it's just kind of, hey, go here and do this, but it doesn't really, like, it gives you, in the starting area, there's like a helicopter that is your target, and that's your sole target, but you can't actually get to the top of the helicopter because you have to go and talk to someone else and do something else in another place, and then it can take you there through these anomaly portals, which is weird. And to me, that is kind of like, I do wish there was a little bit more of a sense of disappointed discovery, because it almost feels like you're doing a bit of like fetch quest type stuff, if that makes sense. Like you're kind of just, oh, you should check out this helicopter, come back, and then go do this thing, and then come back, and then walk and go do this thing. Like literally for this area, a lot of the missions were I'd go here, and then I'd walk over here, do something, and I'd walk back over here, they'd update me, and then I'd walk back over here, do something, and then walk back over here, and then walk over here and do something. It was just kind of like, yeah, this is a little less intriguing. Oh, there's zombies, great. Never want to deal with the zombies. Do I not? Yeah, I accidentally used my radiation thing. Oh, that's great. Oh, what a waste of a radioactive pad. Things don't grow on trees, you know. You gotta actually, like, salvage and be smart about your resources. But the whole kind of story context thing is you're sort of just... You're in here following in the footsteps of these units and that. You're trying to figure out what exactly kind of happened and get some more information. And, you know, like, I never really thought we'd get this on the consoles. So it is kind of cool that this is something that is present. You know, I think that's honestly really good that they made this one available. Like, this package overall, I think it's kind of neat. It's like a worthwhile selection of games from its era. It really depends, though, on your, I guess you would say, intrigue and interest in this one, and if you find it to be something cool and exciting, or if you find it too weird, or... Like, there is stuff to like, but this one in particular, it's just kind of like... There's parts of it that I really, really like, and there's parts of it where I'm just like, wow, this is like mind-numbingly slow and boring to get places. And for me, I just need a little bit more of an edge to the action. Because I do know where I'm going, and a lot of people will tell you that the magic and the fun of the series is sort of the slow burn, you know, doing side quests, reacting and meeting different characters, and like, that's cool, but I do tend to need a little bit more drive and or focus in what we're supposed to be achieving and doing. I do, like, I think for the time, this actually holds up pretty well, particularly this one, just, you know, the texturing work and everything like that. It's kind of nice looking, like it's moody, it's atmospheric, it's creepy. The vibes are what you would kind of want for this sort of zone where there's different creatures and factions and things you have to deal with. And it's as exciting as you kind of make it, but some of it's just sort of like, you know, we're walking over here to go do something, and you can tell that there's not a whole lot going on. Now we got some dogs to shoot, and yeah. It really is. It's a case of me, and I hope that's coming across reluctantly, really wanting to like this, but also just kind of being like, man, a lot of this is really slow. Like, there's a part where you're trying to get, like, money for a suit. And I guess I don't know, people were saying you should have tons of money at that point. I was just like, what? You know, where are you getting this money? I never knew I needed money, and it's really weird, because I guess you're supposed to really take, like, a slow kind of approach to everything in this one. When in actuality, it is something that is a bit more easygoing and stuff. It's not... Usually you don't feel the rush of having to do stuff, and I wonder if I can kind of skip ahead on some story stuff now that I actually... Because I've played through a good chunk of this. I'm wondering if I can kind of go and do things, but yeah, it's not like there's crazy things waiting around each corner. It's set up in a specific way. You're doing things... Oh, is it actually going to play like the cinematic and all that?
Schematics for the Prypiat 1 underpass.
Yeah, schematics and stuff like that. Oh, it's really cool.
Underground way to get to Prypiat.
And it's got some really creepy places. But, you know, at times you're sitting there in the dark wandering around, and you're just like, what are we doing? There also is, like, these really cool, like, anomaly segments where everything is, you gotta get indoors, otherwise you just die. And it's got this, like, really creepy vibe, and everything goes all red and stuff. And how do I know that? Because I looked outside, because I was like, oh man, this is so cool. Felt the need to experience that myself instead of, well, basically ignoring it. So yeah, you get to these points and these cool places, and you're like, oh, this is neat, but it feels more like set dressing, because you're not really doing anything in it. You're like a guy that's just sort of wandering around to interact with his next point before talking to another guy and doing another thing somewhere else. which is strange. But I mean, if you like this mood and this feeling and this style, you can kind of really appreciate what this has to offer because that's the tonality that they're going for with it, right? I can't help but feel like this is actually like a really good primer for the follow up for the next kind of Stalker game, because it does. I think their approach is going to be like this, but a little tighter in what you do in it, more like things going on, more things happening. Because it is neat to run across a guy and get a quest or get a job, and you have to use people to fast travel. Like otherwise, you're walking everywhere. So you can pay a guy if you meet them to walk with you, and they'll take you somewhere. So it's like it allows you to go and basically explore and then fast get back to where you need to, but at the same time it does... What is that? It does also desire to have you not fully be able to do that unless you have the money to do that. Is there a fire spirit here last time? Should really create a save point. I don't know if that was a fire spirit or if that was just an explosive barrel going off. You know what? I think I actually clicked the helicopter and triggered the cutscene last time I was here. I was getting eaten by the dogs while I was in the cinematic, because I think I didn't see the dogs until I clicked it or something. Maybe I was speeding by things. It is neat though, but usually you don't also move at the pacing I'm moving. It's because I really do know specifically like a lot of things ahead of what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm like, I think you can kind of get away with just interacting with all this stuff before doing other things. It's neat. You gotta like, there's a spot where you gotta like prepare a crew. Oh, I shouldn't have touched that. That's like a contaminated thing. Yeah, not a great idea, gotta be honest with you. Not a great idea. Is this the book thing I'm supposed to get? See, I'm getting it all done. I'm moving fast. I'm a full stalker. I stalk with the best of them.
The entrance to the underpass is here.
So I think you can find this one neat. I think you can find this one kind of cool. I think some people will just be like, it's too slow for me, too meandering. I think the first one just seems to be leading as my favorite out of them, and this is the one I want to like the most, which I've kind of iterated. But it truly is. It's one where I'm kind of like, this is the most on par with what I'm interested in. This open approach, this doing different things, and I'm like, okay, but I just need a little bit more oomph and go behind the whole surface of it, just to really, truly appreciate it. I think we can kind of skip back here. Yep. A little bit of a shortcut on that one. Yeah, I'm kind of like blitzing through this. The slow down part, though, will be having the money to buy, like, a suit to get to the next area. That'll be a big hindrance in trying to get to that next spot. So yeah, you gotta talk to a few different guys. This is the last dog you gotta kill in this area.
Attention! Attention! An emission is approaching. Find cover immediately!
This soon? We just had one not too long ago. I think it's telling me on this room I'm gonna be safe. Am I safe in this room? Yeah, okay, so this is considered cover. This is like literally a part of the game where you just occasionally have to like sit here and kind of like wait, otherwise you die. But I don't remember it happening so fast last time. Usually there was a bit more of a spaced out styling to it. And I'm not even kidding, there's like a crazy storm. You don't want to go out there. It's like death. Like this is literally like you need to find cover or you will die. And it just starts to get all crazy. And it gets all red and stuff, and you're just like, oh no, what's happening? That's why I made a save, so that we can go out and experience the magic of this. It'll certainly kill me, though. Find cover. I don't know, it just kind of creates like a neat, vibrant like vibe and style to it that I kind of like. It's sort of cool. But I think for the most part, this one is kind of interesting. There is a niche selection of players that I think will absolutely love what this one has to offer and find it neat. And there's a lot of people that can be like, oh, I don't know. Because you got to remember, it's a game of its era. it's actually kind of impressive, and I wish I'd have a deeper level appreciation too. I think for it if had I played it at the time as well. And it's your mileage is going to vary based on your gaming interests. I'd say for this one.